So how many times have you touched something hot and pushed back immediately? Or how many times have you actually hit your sibling as soon as they touched you without even thinking about it? We can attribute all these little talents to our reflex action. Our reflex action is nothing but it's a shortcut to prevent the overload on a brain. It is a spontaneous response that is governed predominantly by our spinal cord. It occurs without actually having our brain to intervene in what is happening. The message is relayed to the brain after we have reacted to it. So for example, if you touch something hot, you'll not keep touching it till your brain actually processes what's going on and tells you to leave it. You'll leave it immediately and then your brain will understand what exactly happened. Some of the characteristics of our reflex action are that firstly, it is spontaneous. You don't have to think about it before it happens. It is automatic. You don't have to wait for your brain to give you some signal to do something. And it is very short-lived. As soon as you leave the vessel, you'll know what happened. You won't go on working automatically for a very long time. And it is predominantly governed by our spinal cord. Reflex actions are also controlled in the medulla oblongata of the brain, but most of them are dominated by our spinal cord. The path that a reflex action follows is known as a reflex arch. This is our reflex arch. It starts with our skin, or in this case, if we consider that the external stimulus was that hot vessel. Now this hot vessel will give a stimulus to the receptors on our skin. Receptors will relay this information that what we are touching is hot to the sensory nerve. Sensory nerve was the nerve that takes the information from any receptor organ to our central nervous system. And there's a difference between a nerve and a neuron. A nerve is made up of nerve fibers, and these nerve fibers in turn are bundles of axon. A neuron is the entire neuron with the axon, dendrites and the cell body, whereas a nerve will be just made of bundles of axons. And the cell body of this neuron here, whose axons are acting as the sensory nerve, are together known as a ganglion. So this sensory nerve will now relay this information to our spinal cord. These are the three regions of our spinal cord. The sensory nerve will enter into the dorsal horn and the information will be relayed through the lateral horn into the ventral horn and to our motor nerve. And this is our mixed nerve. Mixed nerve was any nerve that can take the information in both the directions. So now our message that what we are holding is hot has reached the sensory nerve and has moved through this ganglion into our dorsal horn. Now this information will be relayed through the spinal cord, and the spinal cord will give a message to leave whatever we are holding. This information will be relayed with the help of a motor nerve. Motor nerve was the nerve that takes the information from the central nervous system to any effector organ. So our motor nerve will now transmit this message through the mixed nerve into the arm muscle, and our arm muscle will be told to leave whatever it is holding. And this way we can react to that hot vessel without actually giving the message to the brain and waiting for it to interpret it and come back. This was sort of a shortcut mechanism. While all of this is happening, our spinal cord will also relay this entire information to the brain, and therefore after a second we are going to understand what exactly happened and why we left what we were holding. And inside the spinal cord there can be an interneuron present that will connect this sensory nerve to our motor nerve. The reflex action can be divided on a lot of bases. So we should understand each and every type of reflex action that can be present in our body. The first basis on which we divide our reflex action is the modulation or the integration, which means the actual location where this reflex action is governed. If the reflex action is governed by a spinal cord, it is known as a spinal reflex. Most of the reflex actions are spinal reflexes. If it occurs in the brainstem, it is known as the cranial reflex. This, for example, can be your vomiting reflex that is governed by the medulla oblongata and not the spinal cord. The second basis on which we divide them is the number of synapses. If a reflex arch consists of just a sensory and a motor neuron, there will be one synapse between the two, and therefore it will be known as a monosynaptic reflex. However, if there is some interneuron present or more than one interneurons present, it will now become a polysynaptic reflex with more than one synapses. The next basis of division is the type of effector organ. If our reflex action is affecting a skeletal muscle of our body, it is known as a somatic reflex. Whereas if it is affecting a smooth muscle or any gland in our body, it is an autonomic reflex. Another name for an autonomic reflex is the visceral reflex. The next basis on which we can divide a reflex action is anatomical or physiological. A reflex action that is protective in nature, for example, touching a hot vessel, is an example of a protective reflex. Most of the reflexes are protective, and these are generally governed by the spinal cord. Another type of reflex is the anti-gravity reflex. This reflex occurs when we are standing up or when we have to do anything that is against gravity. We don't have to think about it, it just happens. The third type of reflex is the righting reflex. Righting reflex is basically with respect to the position of all of your organs and limbs. The last basis on which we can divide our reflex action is whether we are born with it or we acquire it during our lifetime. If there is a reflex that we are born with, it is known as an unconditioned, inborn or inherited reflex. An example of this can be crying in a baby. This is present without any previous encounter with that same stimulus. A reflex that we acquire during our lifetime in response to a stimulus is known as a conditioned or acquired reflex. An example of this can be swimming. You'll have to learn it first, but once you actually learn it, you don't have to think about what you're doing. Another example of conditioned reflex would be the Pavlov's experiment. What he did was that he took a dog and he used to ring a bell whenever he served him food. Eventually, over the years, he stopped serving the dog food but just rang the bell. What he found was that the salivary secretions in the dog were already present as soon as the dog heard the bell ringing. He had acquired a reflex that whenever he is going to hear a bell ringing, he is going to get food. That is an example of conditioned or acquired reflex. Now we have understood what a reflex action is, the path that it follows, and all of the various types it can be divided onto on basis of some different things. Hope you like this explanation. If you did, don't forget to press the like button, subscribe to my channel for more updates. Thanks for watching.